What are some of the barriers that's holding back the careers of Asian Americans? Today, I'll share one that is so hidden, subtle, and surprising that many of us are not even aware of it. But the good news is, there's actually, once you know it, there's a very simple strategy to overcome it. So what I'll do today is share 3 stories to illustrate the barrier and also so that help us to recognize them in the future. So very simple, 3 stories, and that's it. The first story, this summer I was in Hawaii, and at the airport, the Uber driver was from Japan. And he said, except for Hawaii, there are very few Japanese who live in America because there are good opportunities in Japan, and also our English is not very good. So I said, oh, yes, that's true. When I was in Stanford, in my English class, there are always Chinese, Korean, and Japanese, and very few from South America or from Europe. And he said, that's true. However, there are even more. Japanese English is even worse than Chinese and Korean. And I said, oh, that's surprising. I wonder why. And he said, see, in Japanese culture, there's so much attention to shame, to perfection. And if we cannot achieve perfection, there's so much shame. So if we cannot speak English with perfection, we would rather not speak it at all. And without speaking, how do you learn English? That was the first story. Second story, when I was new in the company, one time we had a team building event. We go to the driving range and play some golf. I never played golf before. So I was seriously debating whether I should go. I was thinking it would be so embarrassing if I go. So maybe I should just not go at all. Luckily, one of my best friends, who's American, also a new hire, he said, don't worry, just go. Have a few drinks, play a few, have a good time, that's all. You don't need to be good at it. And what he said next, I would never forget. And he said, the important thing is not you are good at everything. The important thing is that you can have a good time. That is so true. See, we always have team building events. It can be bowling, it can be golf, it can be sailing, it can be anything. There's no need to be good at everything, and we cannot be good at everything. See, the important thing for a team building event is just to go, build a network, build some trust, build a team spirit, and have a good time. As for the actual activity itself, there's no need to be good at it. There's a saying, 90% of success is showing up, and there's no shame to showing up. The final story, about 5 years into the company, I was starting to show some leadership talent. And one time I got into the VP's office, and he asked me, what do you want to do in the company in the future? In my head, I know that I have leadership ambitions. I want to become a manager, I want to become a general manager, and so on. But I was so ashamed to say it because it feels so remote, and it feels just ashamed to say it. And then I said, I really enjoy my job. It's so fun. I have great coworkers. It doesn't matter what job I have. I really enjoy it. And the manager said, VP said, if that's your attitude, Haibin, you will not get very far in the company. And then he said, see, people see leadership as glamour, but actually it's mostly about responsibility, commitment, and sacrifice. There are always setbacks, always challenges, the team dynamics need to overcome. So as a leader, it's more about commitment to overcome all of the challenges rather than glamour. And that was a huge learning. So even though in my mind, I may be thinking about being humble, but sometimes humility can be interpreted as a lack of conviction, a lack of commitment, a lack of courage, maybe a fear of failure, a fear of not taking risk. So what are all those 3 stories share in common? It's a sense of shame. And what are the consequences of the shame? In the first case, about learning English and speaking English, wanting to speak perfect and being ashamed to speak is getting into the way of learning. In the second case, which is very different, because even though speaking good English is the goal, playing good golf is not the goal itself. The goal is to build in team spirit. So the shame and the embarrassment that I had was getting in the way of networking and career growth. And finally, the shame of showing ambition in the VP's office was getting in the way of showing conviction and commitment. And this kind of shame can impact anyone in this room. However, It impacts Asian Americans and new immigrants in new and profound ways. So how do we overcome it? There's actually a very simple strategy. And the strategy is just a mindset of vulnerability. And what do I mean by that? In the first case, with speaking English, the vulnerability means, I'm not good, perfect at it, but it's okay. I can learn, and I will learn. When I first came to this country, I barely speak any English. I keep learning. It's a lifelong learning journey. I had a very strong accent. I still have a strong accent. I probably will always have an accent, but it's fine. Today, the fact I'm here on this stage, I chose to be here. I have chosen to be vulnerable in front of all of you. In the second case, being vulnerable in the golfing and the team building means knowing that I'm not good at it, but it's okay. I'm okay with it. I don't need to be good at it. No one can be good at everything. And actually, I'll go one step further. No one should be good at everything. If you're a CEO, you will know the most demotivating factor for a CEO would be go to the CFO and say, oh, I know more finance than the CFO. That'll be very demotivating. So no one should think I should be good at everything. And finally, in the VP's office, being vulnerable would mean I know I have the potential. I really want to get somewhere. I don't know if I can get there, but can you support me to reach it? In this case, in our career, what's really important is not to seek validation, but really to seek support. And to seek support, we have to be vulnerable. Otherwise, why do we need the support? So with vulnerability, there's no shame to learn. There's no shame to have a good time and to network. And also, there's no shame to be super ambitious to make a difference. Now, a final story. A few months ago, I had a friend who are really just super strong professional, engineer, extremely good, hardworking, dedicated. However, in his business, there's some change, so his position was gone. Most of us have a tendency, we network, we go out when we are in a good time. We feel good. However, I would argue networking is even more essential if the time is bad. So to his credit, he did it. He went out, he reached out, and he found a really good job that fit him. So that is the power of vulnerability. So in my career, I've been 20 years in the industry now. If there's only one superpower I have, I would say it's vulnerability. What it means is that it helped me get rid of this mindset of shame. And I can say, I'm imperfect. I'm fallible. I can fail. However, I can also learn. I'm always present. I'm engaged. I'm committed. And I'm ambitious. So vulnerability as a superpower, it helped me grow my career and also helped me grow as a person. Let vulnerability be one of your superpowers. Thank you.